Jai Gurudev. So we are talking about many stories from the Bhagavata Purana. Today we will talk about the story of Ajamila. Ajamila was a very pious Brahmin. He lived with his parents and he had a young wife. So he lived a life of austerity. He was studying scriptures. He was well versed in the Vedas. He was living a very simple, pious life. One day, Ajamila went to the forest. In the forest, he meets a wicked lady. So he was overcome by lust, and he decided to marry that wicked lady. See, he forgets everything about his parents. He forgets everything about his wife. He just goes ahead and marries that wicked lady. So between them, they had 10 children. So out of attachment, they had 10 children. And the last child, he named him as Narayana. And he was very fond of this last child, Narayana. So he used to, fondle him. He used to make him sit on his lap. So he loved his last child very dearly. So when Ajamila was very old, he suffered a lot. He was lying on his bed, on the deathbed, and the three messengers from the Lord of Death, Yama, they came to take Ajamila to the hell. So out of pain and anguish, Ajamila called out his young son. His young son's name was Narayana. So he called, "Oh Narayana." So the cry was so loud that it in fact reached the Vaikuntha. It in fact reached the abode of Vishnu. So immediately Vishnu or Narayana, he sent 4 of his messengers to protect Ajamila. So there ensued a war of words between the 4 messengers of Narayana and 3 messengers of the Lord of Death. The messengers of the Lord of Death said, "This man has led a very despicable life. He has forgotten his parents, he has forgotten his duties, he has forgotten his wife, and therefore he deserves a place in hell." But the 4 messengers of Narayana, they said, "Don't you know, just by calling once the name of Narayana, one gets absolved of all the sins, millions of sins. So at this moment, he has called out his young son Narayana, so therefore he is free of all the sins." So the the messengers of death, they could not argue anymore, they just left him. So Ajamila was very thankful, he was very grateful, and he bowed down to the messengers of Narayana. Once he got up, they were not there. They left. So finally, this Ajamila, he realized that he was leading a very despicable life. He had committed so many sins, but he was so grateful to the Lord that just by calling his name, Narayana, he has protected him from going to hell. So finally, he decided to live a life of austerity. He went to the forest, did penance. He kept his mind focused on the God. So it is said at the end of his life, the 4 messengers of Narayana, they themselves came and took Ajamila to the Loka of Vaikuntha. So what we learn from this story is, irrespective of how many sins we have committed, how many mistakes we have done, once we call out the name of Lord Narayana, the Nama of Narayana is so powerful that once we say Narayana, thousands of our sins gets absorbed, gets destroyed. So this is a story of Ajamila. Jai Guru.